Hello and welcome. We are going to go over the 2022 InRange TV's Woodland Brutality match. I have all of the footage here of all 7 stages. I didn't get the 8th stage because I thought I wasn't going to do very well on it, but more on that soon. Anyway, we're going to start with day 1, which was stages 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then day 2, which is 1, 2, and 3, and basically that's it. As my go-to primary rifle, I have my Ruger American Ranch in 5.56. It is a 16-inch barrel, it takes AR mags, and I'm borrowing a friend's Springfield 1911 Shaper 9mm. I know, it's only 9mm, but that's the only pistol he had to lend me, and I was gracious for that. However, it was the first time I was ever shooting that pistol, and really the first time I was ever really shooting a pistol in an environment like this, because I don't own a pistol. Where I live in New York, it's kind of challenging to get, and I've been putting it off for quite some time. But all of that's about to change because I've now been bit by the 2-gun bug, and I don't think there's a cure. Anyway, let's start with day 1, stage 4. I was a little nervous. I thought I had everything set except for the magnification on my LPVO. That was at 4. I really wanted to run this around 2x, but I made do with what I had. Moving on now to the spinner. We had to engage just about 50 yards. It was my first time ever engaging a spinner. And with a bolt gun, I figured I'd go prone to at least give myself the benefit of the doubt with not having to stabilize myself and the gun while recocking it. It was pretty good. I was toying around with the idea between running the 55 grains, which I ended up running, versus my 77 grains. Hindsight, I should have run my heavier weight bullets. It should have spun that a little bit faster, but I was still happy just to get it over. We had to engage that A-zone mini IPSC in 5 different positions, so I opted for that first as opposed to the spinner, because if I didn't get the spinner, which I was very clear wasn't going to happen, I would have gotten +5 mics. Because I'm only running 10-round magazines, I load the gun up with one and put another one in my mouth. I also didn't realize that I had to be at the VTAC. Another thing I also didn't realize, nor did anybody else, is that the heavy counterweight of the spinner was at the top position as opposed to the bottom. I don't know how that happened, but that was just my luck. Overall, I was fully expecting to fail this stage. I'm just happy that I got through it with time to spare. Stage 5 required a lot of rounds, a couple more targets, and a lot of different positions, and it was an absolute blast. I'm still trying to figure out where this pistol's even hitting at this distance. It's about 40 yards from that target. Here you had to drop the magazine and with the last round in the chamber make this hit or else it counts as a mic. Once you make that shot or miss it, you pick up your rifle from the trunk, you load in a magazine, and you engage the 3 silhouettes in the back. For this stage, I remember to change my magnification setting. I was running it around 2.5x. You might not notice it, but that middle full-sized IPSC has a giant hole in the middle replicating body armor. You're supposed to hit anywhere around that. I changed my magazine for the third time and the most times throughout the entire event. Overall, the stage went extremely smooth in my opinion. I was really worried about missing that last pistol target, but it worked out very well. They made you wear about a 20-pound rucksack on top. If you're wondering what that pack is on my back, it's about 20 pounds worth of weight just to simulate gear. I was running 124 grain 9mm Normas through this, and it works extremely efficiently on these spinners. I wish the stage was a little bit longer because it was a lot of fun. Stage 7 is the final stage of the day and required you dragging 2 kettlebells on a rope and engaging 2 full-size IPSC targets at about 85 yards. I didn't realize that you could really shoot off the bench, and I should have really done that because I started getting fatigued at this point and started dropping a lot of shots. Plus, I made my first real mistake of the match.
Good. Now, if you're doing, are you doing partisan? Good. Down there with your rifle? Yeah. Okay. Yep. I'm trying to shoot. Good. Good. And I'm just like, come on, man. And they're like digging in. You have to give it this like tug to start to get it out of the hole. Good.
When I dropped that first magazine, it still had 2 rounds in it because I had lost count of where I was, and, shame on me for not being able to count properly to 10. However, I had 1 target left, I had 2 rounds left in this magazine, I figured, let me get it on the first 2. I don't, as you can clearly see, and it forced a 3rd magazine change. Cost me a couple seconds, I know, but in a real bad situation, I would have been completely boned.
Look bad with the bolt gun. That and a freaking single stack 9mm.
The pistol targets are about 40 to 50 yards at this point, and I'm just happy to have been able to actually hit them and clear this stage in time. It was a little bit more difficult than I thought. Day 2 starts out with stage 1 and perhaps the most fun stage of the entire event, Humvee Escape. So just follow along and stick with it. As much fun as this is, I also do the absolute worst on it.
Right.
I was so confident I was going to get that 5th and final shot off before having to unload and show clear before engaging the pistol targets.
Chamber around. Chamber, engage. Hit. Hit. Hit.
I was so painfully confident with how fast I cleared those, but I was shooting with my left eye as opposed to my right, and I'm right hand, right eye dominant. And when I change over to this bay, I do right hand, right eye, which I should normally do, and I just can't make hits. As a result, I dropped 2 targets for a total of plus 2 minutes.
Hey, Q hits on the seat.
I was completely shook and upset at myself at this point, and I completely forget to use my paracord to deploy my bipod to make these final 2 hits as fast as I can. I cleared the stage in a pretty decent time, but those 2 pistol targets that I dropped absolutely just devastated me. As a result, I left here not feeling overly confident. But from here, we went to stage 2, which is the Casarda drill, which is what I trained the most for.
You're ready. Stand by.
We were shooting at about an A-zone IPSC target at about 70 yards, and as you can see, the ground was extremely muddy. Fortunately, though, it wasn't as bad as it was the day prior. From what we hear, the kettlebell was just literally sinking into every single hole. But nevertheless, this stage goes by better than I expected. I decided to drop to a knee so I could support my left elbow off my left knee to make these shots count in one as opposed to trying to shoot offhand and just dumping rounds. One thing I can recommend to a lot of people with running a bolt gun is just be slow and steady with it. In fact, I recommend that with a lot of people, but a bolt gun really reinforces that mindset. A lot of people I see, including myself a lot of times, is we just get a little bit either frustrated, excited, and we just start dumping rounds. And as a result, we start missing targets more. It happens to everybody. But running a bolt gun really reinforces the mindset of slow and steady wins the race.
Good job. Great roll. There you go, man. Keep it going. Keep it going, man. You got this. Great job. Big throw here. Get it over the line. It's your last line. Get it over. There you go. You are over.
Nice.
To the line. Make a hit from the line, and you are finished.
I was painfully excited to have finished the stage as quickly as I did. It worked better than I could have expected, and I wish we had more stages like this because I love simple, hard stages.
5 bonuses. Yes, sir.
We end the day and the match on stage 3, which is without a doubt the most enjoyable stage of the entire event for me. It involved the most sort of disciplines and just it was a massive amount of fun, and you'll see why in just a sec.
Nice.
I managed to get one of the 2 poppers that remained at 200 yards with the machine gun, which means I had to engage that popper, and then 2 full-size IPSCs at about 350 yards. I dropped the first one on the full-size IPSC because I was holding dead center, as opposed to holding up on the drop reticle on the P4XI. Shame on me, but I was in the zone. I really enjoy the dynamic of advancing like this. It's something that I'm not familiar with at my local range because we just don't have the space or the capacity for it. So being able to come out here and try all these different disciplines was an absolute blast. And this is really the stage that was set apart from the others because it involved so much more. I kind of wish we did a little bit more physically inducive stages. The Casarda drill is excellent. This was really good, but I wish we had more like heavy dragging stuff. The kettlebells was nice, but I wish we had a stage where you advanced forward, picked up a really heavy target or a person, and then dragged them back to safety. I know they've done that before. Maybe it was just a limitation of this range, but overall, everything else went as good as it could have, and I'm just so happy to have finally gotten to compete in not just a two-gun match, but a brutality match.
Clear.
Hell yeah, American Sniper.
Time. 1, 2, 4, 3, 1.
Finishing the match was extremely bittersweet. Overall, I placed in the top 50th out of 171 shooters. I won't give the exact number just for animosity's sake, but I was very painfully impressed with how I performed. With the rifle, I know I'm very proficient. I've had the rifle for a very long time. I've trained extensively with it, but the pistol was the first time I was ever shooting it, and in fact, like I said, ever really shooting a pistol under duress, so I was very pleased with that. What you are watching now is Stage 8, which is the bonus stage. Long story short, it's PvP. There's a sapper in the woods that you have to neutralize before they break the line or they shoot you. You're wearing Miles 2000 gear, which is military's equivalent of glorified laser tag, and the goal is, if you shoot them, it's minus 60 seconds of your overall time. If they shoot you, it's plus 60 seconds, and if he breaks the line or you run out of ammunition, it's a draw. I opted not to get filmed because they were asking me if I wanted to get filmed. This is right after Stage 1. I was a little bit down, and I was like, the last thing I want to do is just get shot by this guy and add another 60 seconds to my penalties. What ended up happening was, you're standing in the middle of the road, he's all the way down in the road, in the tree line, wearing full camo at about 85 yards. The guy goes, go! I pull the rifle up, take 2 pop shots, and get him running full sprint at about 85 yards. So I ended up losing 60 seconds off my overall time, which is great. I really regret not having that on footage because that was perhaps the highlight of the entire event for me. This was an absolute blast. The guys in my squad were all incredible. In fact, every guy at the match was incredible. It was extremely heartwarming to see so many people of so many different creeds and backgrounds all joining together to partake in this truly wonderful event. The guys over at InRange were spectacular. All the other sponsors of the match were beyond words. But more so to the point, if you've never competed in a brutality match or a two-gun match, do it, because it was something to absolutely behold. However, the real winners of this were all of us, because we all had an absolute blast, and cannot wait for this to come back again next year to compete in the Woodlands Brutality 2023, God willing. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching, and as always, see you again next time. And a huge thank you to my Patreon providers. Without you, this truly wouldn't be possible. If you'd like to help support the channel but don't want to join my Patreon, I completely understand. But you can help by using the affiliate links in the description below. Thanks again for watching.